Oh, my phone just vibrated. Okay, sorry. I was texting my mom, you know, we need allergy medicine because I've been sneezing all morning. Hello, my name is Sydney, and today I thought I would talk about the shiny new idea syndrome. If you've watched any of my recent writing vlogs, at least especially in the most recent one, you'll see that I talked about how I was working on my project Stormcloud, which is the novel that I'm working on this month and next month, and how I kind of wasn't feeling it for a few days, but then I started working on another project, one that I hadn't worked on in a while, but I had been thinking about recently, and I started to get really excited by that idea, which my novel project that I should be working on, it kind of pushed that one towards the door. Part of that is just, you know, because I'm inspired to do one project while I'm not so inspired to work on the other project. And, you know, it's just that whole, like I said, shiny new idea syndrome, where any new idea that comes around is just, ooh, so exciting, I could do all, you get really excited for the novelty of certain ideas, rather than the ones that may be way more developed, maybe way further down the process, but, you know, the idea can sometimes become stale, and it's not that the story itself is boring or stale or anything like that, it's just that this other thing is newer. New things seem to just kind of grab our attention, at least for a lot of us. I think especially for a lot of creative people, I know for myself, that new ideas bring a lot of potential. A new idea doesn't necessarily mean for me that it has to be something that I just thought of. It could be something that just wasn't on my mind at the moment. As a writer, I've got a few different projects going on. 3 novel projects, I have another project that I just started like a couple days ago that's really like sparking my interest. So it's just like all these ideas. When I get stuck with one idea, when I get burned out from one idea, I start looking at other ideas to get inspired, or I start going back to my previous projects. What can I do with those to improve them? What can I do to move those further along? And those projects, those old projects, were probably projects that I abandoned in light of a new idea. I keep kind of circling back to the same projects, but it can be several months, it could be a couple of years before I see a project again. I'm always thinking about it. The allure of a new idea is very tempting. It can be really hard to say, no, I need to work on this project. And I'm still working on my willpower when it comes to saying no to those new ideas. If you have new ideas, go ahead and write them down. Maybe spend a few minutes thinking about it, but then put it aside until you're actually ready to come back to it. Or even just like use it as a reward. You've reached your word count for the day, you've hit your goal for the day or for the week of what you want to work on. Now, to give your mind a break from that story, you can work on this one. If that's how you work, because some people can't work on more than one story at once. I usually can't. I need to be completely immersed in one story so that way I can just, you know, be living in that world. I can really be feeling that world. You know, so you just kind of have to see what works best for you, but I really just need to work on my willpower. I don't have a whole lot of willpower in general, especially when it comes to carbohydrates. Oh my gosh, bread. Building up that willpower as a writer in order to stay determined to finish those projects. They say that writing is a marathon, which could not be truer. Writing really does just take a lot of strength, mental strength, a lot of determination, a lot of passion. It takes so many of these things to be able to stick through a story all the way to the very end. And, you know, people who want to write books but find themselves not very successful at doing it, it's because you know, we're not sticking with the stories as we need to. And I've written 2 first drafts from start to finish in the past year, which is really good for me. So it's been a really kind of, the past, you know, 12 to 18 months have been really momentous for me as a writer, but I still have a lot of things that I need to work on, as we all do, and there's always something to learn with writing. I had a creative writing teacher who said, one is always an apprentice to writing, which was like a really well-worded statement, but it's so true, and it helps to know what you need to work on, because, you know, the first step to fixing a problem is knowing that you have it, is admitting that you have one, and I'm admitting that I have very weak willpower. So as I continue to grow as a writer, I really do want to work on my willpower. I do want to work on sticking with an idea. So I guess kind of just to bring it back down, let's recap kind of what we said. As a writer, it can be very hard to stick with an idea, especially if it's one that you're passionate about, especially if it's one that you truly believe in. And I truly believe in my project Stormcloud. I really do. but just for whatever reason my willpower is not allowing me to stick with it. And I'm not so sure that it is the willpower alone. It's also just for whatever reason I'm not feeling the story right now. It's not a plot issue because I know what's going to happen and I'm excited about what's going to happen. I guess if you're kind of like in my situation or a similar situation, or just for whatever reason you're being constantly tempted by these new ideas, I guess some advice that I might have for you, which, you know, advice that I could give myself, maybe just take a moment to really think about why this story that really matters to you. Like, why does it matter to you? Why is it important? Why do you owe it to yourself, to the characters, to the world to write this story now? I'm a very introspective person, and I've been writing for several years now. This is not the first time I've been in this position, but in a way it feels like it, because I'm trying to think back to previous times when I was tempted by a shiny new idea. How did I react to it? I think I reacted to it by just going with the new idea, sticking with that for a while, and that allows me to make progress on that idea. But then when I get a new idea, then that idea falls on the back burner and I start looking at this new idea and I end up with a trail of projects that are unfinished. And, you know, it's like I want to accomplish something. I want to complete a story. Not just write the first draft, but write a polished first draft that's been edited several times, that's ready to move on, you know? That's ready to see someone else's eyes rather than just my own. Because I believe in my stories. Yeah, so I guess some advice, and I'll link a couple of articles down below that I think probably will offer some better advice or more coherent advice than I can offer right now. So like I said, take a moment to really think about your story. Try to find what truly connects you with this story. Like, this is your baby. You can't just abandon it, especially if you believe that it can really go somewhere. You know, so you have to stick with it. There's always going to be highs and lows in writing. There's always going to be days when you can't stop writing, where you're just in a fever pitch. There's going to be days where you have to drag yourself to the keyboard. Every writer experiences this. You're not alone if you do. But it's just about fighting through those bad days to get to the good ones. Because sometimes the good days won't come unless you make them. Unless you lasso that bad boy and reel it in. Yeah, and if you do get new ideas, write them down. Lock them up, put them away. They will still be there for you when you come back later. Yes, sometimes the initial passion that comes with a new idea, where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is great, I'm so excited about this idea. If you lock that away, yes, that passion can sometimes wear off. That initial excitement can wear off. But that doesn't make the idea any less good. You just have to prioritize. What's the most important thing right now? You know, sometimes you just have to make that tough decision. But the idea will still be there. Your work in progress that you're really serious about will still be there. It still is there, and it's waiting for you to finish it, because it can't finish itself. And if you want to work on it to make it better, you want to edit it, you want other people to read it, you can't do that with an unfinished draft. You gotta finish it. You gotta finish it. If your long-term goals are just to be sitting on a pile of new ideas, you know, if you just want to be Mr. Krabs, who he has all this money but he never really wants to spend it because he's so cheap. Do you just want to be sitting on a pile of money but not be able to spend it? No, like, you want to spend it, right? But and this translates to writing. Like, you have these ideas, you want to write them, right? But if you just want to sit on new ideas, a bunch of unfinished ideas, you're never really going to get anywhere unless that is your goal. But if your goal is to one day have your books on, you know, the shelves that other readers can read them and enjoy them and love them as much as you did, or maybe not quite as much, because, you know, no one can love your baby like you. If that is your goal, you're not going to get there by sitting on a pile of unfinished ideas. You've got to pick the one that you love the most, the one that you're most passionate about, and you have to finish it. So yeah, that's what I've got on this subject. I'm going to go and try to heed my own advice now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any advice on how to stick with current manuscripts, current works in progress without being tackled by shiny new ideas, please let me know down below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the future with more videos to come. Toodaloo! So more than you know, more than you know.